think it's important for you to go in with a plan. Like, let them know, hey, I have seen you doing X, Y, and Z in the community. Good. I really, am aspiring to kind of go in that same direction. I would love to get coffee or lunch with you and pick your brain. And I think sometimes it can be a little intimidating for mentees on the very first time to go in and have an agenda or something they want to talk to. But I also want to say, don't be afraid of that.
You're listening to the More Than a Young Professional podcast, the podcast at the intersection of your career, personal life, health, and community, because we're all more than just young professionals.
Hey guys, welcome to the More Than a Young Professional podcast. I am Justin Oswald.
I'm Meg Burke.
And I am Kristy Craig.
Hey.
What's going on?
So you've probably heard somebody that you don't normally hear. We're kind of excited about this.
Got a guest.
And also, there's a lot of changes.
Lots of changes.
So I guess number one is you could be listening to us, but you could also be watching us.
you could be. Yes, we now have the podcast not only everywhere you download podcast, but also on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you might be watching us. This is what we look like.
Hi.
I know you're probably disappointed in this. I'm sorry, but this is all I got to work with.
Nobody could be disappointed.
If you heard my voice for however many episodes and thought he sounds good looking, and then you watch this, you're like, oh my God, this is it? This is the guy? Face for radio.
Yeah.
So welcome to our YouTubers. Glad you're with us. And Kristy, glad you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So in addition to the video, also we are rotating our hosts a little bit.
Yeah.
So today it's Justin and I and our good friend Kristy, and you'll see Meg come back on, and one of us usually swap out, and we'll be rotating some of our PYP leadership in. And so I'm excited to welcome Kristy.
Yeah. And a little explanation for anybody that's maybe their first episode they found us.
Yeah.
The More Than Young Professional podcast is a podcast of the Pensacola Young Professionals.
Yes.
So when she mentions PYP, that's what Pensacola Young Professionals, and our leadership team, we're rotating in some of us. We all are on the leadership team currently, and we're going to rotate in other people and all that.
Yeah. So Kristy is joining us today because we're going to be talking about mentorship.
Yes.
And you are like my queen mentor expert in my life.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful to have you on the team. So Kristy is our VP of Professional Development. She co-leads our Mentor Pensacola program, which we'll talk a little bit about, but also works in a mentor organization, a nonprofit for pre-K kids. So I'm going to let you talk about it because I've already butchered everything you do, and I love you and adore you. But I'm going to let you tell people what is it that you do.
Well, I love you both. You guys have not butchered anything. But yes, I work for a small nonprofit called Ready Kids. We've been around since 2007, and many of you probably remember us as eCare, Every Child a Reader in Escambia. And our entire mission is getting children ready for kindergarten, inspiring them, empowering their parents to take that journey for academic success, starting early and continuing lifelong so that they can have the best chance of success really forever. And so Ready Kids has a 3-prong approach. We've got our Reading Pals program, which is my favorite part, where we come into the schools once a week and volunteers work with students on literacy skills and building social emotional and just pouring into them. So it's fantastic. And getting to be a part of a mentor program for the adults now with Mentor Pensacola through Pensacola Young Professionals has just been so fantastic. We've seen a lot of success, a lot of great comments from our participants. So I'm so excited
I am
a
participant.
You are
also a participant.
Yes. I think everybody in the room, Meg Rich as well.
Yes.
And so it's been going really great.
And fun fact, if anybody remembers from season one of our hosts was Ruthie. Yes. You work with Ruthie now.
I do.
Ruthie used to be the executive director of Pensacola Young Professionals. Now she's the executive director of Ready Kids, and you work with her on a day-to-day basis.
I sure do, and I'm so lucky.
Yes, she is also a mentor in the mentor program.
She sure is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a whole crew of people involved in this program, and I think we have just about 50 people this year, 25 mentees and 25 mentors.
Yep. For this to be the first year we brought it back since, about 2008?
Fact 15? Check, Meg Rich is in the room.
2016. Okay. I think it's such a great start. I mean, 50 people. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's really cool. So tell people a little bit about what we've done with Mentor Pensacola and what that program actually is. I guess.
So Mentor Pensacola is all about connecting young professionals in the Pensacola area with leaders in, again, the Pensacola area who can really take them to the next level, whether they're looking to climb the corporate ladder, just grow professionally in the very many vastly different careers that our folks are coming from. And some of them really just want to kind of elevate themselves on a personal level, maybe develop those skills in public speaking or networking, because that can always be a little scary. Our mentors have such a wide array of skills and come from all different fields in the professional world. So we have had the opportunity to sit down and really listen to what our mentees are looking for in a mentor, spent a lot of time having mentors come to us, but also seeking out some people that we thought might be a great fit for those who came to us to receive that mentorship. And we've been doing it now for about 3 months, and our mentors meet once a month for at least an hour. They talk about topics that are really important to them. We've shared the goals of our mentees with our mentors so that they can take them on the path that's really going to, again, elevate them to that next level.
It's really cool.
What I think is great about the program is that I'm sure out of all the people, especially from a mentee perspective, people that are looking for a mentor, that can be an intimidating thing to go seek that out and ask someone. But with a program like this, they can just apply for it. And then the match is done for them and all these things. So for someone who may not be as outgoing, or more of an introvert or something, that doesn't mean they shouldn't have a mentor. But I just think it's cool the way we did it, the way you guys did it, and how it's kind of matched based on what their goals are, what they do, or what, those type of things. I just thought that was cool because there's some people who may not take the step on their own to go find one.
Yeah.
You're right. It can be so intimidating, and it shouldn't be. It's all about building relationships. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I love a relationship with anybody, getting to talk about where they've been, where they're going, and just seeing how we can inspire each other to be the best versions of ourselves. But yes, this is such a great opportunity for those who are looking to advance their professional skills, or again, personal skills as well, to meet someone they probably wouldn't have met outside of this program.
Yeah. And you never know who that person introduced, how that just expands your network, as far, and not that that's the only thing that's important, but that is very important, especially in a world where, relationships matter, like, not just who matters like that, but your relationships do matter.
Yes.
And who they introduce you to.
One of the things that I've encouraged our mentors just over the winter break was to have their mentee reach out to those that they work with in the mentors business and schedule 15-minute sit downs with different people from different departments so that you can, again, grow that connection and also learn more than just the skills that you might be laser focused on. I
offered my mentor, I told him, because we got to talking, and he does real estate. Obviously, it's Justin Beck. Anyways, I like real estate a lot, so we talk a lot about that. But I was like, look, I'm pretty flexible in my schedule. Like I can kind of set my own time and stuff. I was like, if you want, kind of treat me even like an assistant. I'll come around. Like if you got a meeting, I was like, I don't want to impose. I'm just offering. Like, let me shadow with some of this stuff to see how you do it. And how you've built what you've built, because you've got a really successful, business, but not just let me come along with you and show me what you've done, but I offered to provide value. It's like, even treat me like an assistant if you need to. Like if you need me to take care of something, like I will. Like surely he's got an assistant already, but like I at least want to provide value, not just like take me along with everything you do. Like not weird like that, but I wanted to provide value of some kind. And
I think that's probably, to be honest, very rare for a lot of because you and I are on the higher side of, especially on the age range of those involved in the mentor.
Yeah, my mentor's only like 4 years older than me.
Right.
Which it's not always it's not necessarily an age thing.
Right. It's not even, but like in our careers too, we are on the higher end of the YP career field. And so being able to offer, you have the capacity to offer some value.
Right, okay.
Whereas some of our mentees are like deer in headlights, don't even know where to start. So, and I guess the other part of that is, some of these relationships are very different between, so like we're talking today mostly about mentor relationships, but we do have, there's, advocates and sponsors and, what's the difference between any of these words that I just threw out here?
Do you want to start? You want me to go?
Sure. Well, let's start with what a mentor is.
Okay.
A mentor is really somebody that's going to pour into your life that you can turn to and seek advice from and have that relationship, not necessarily short term, but hopefully something that's going to be lifelong and someone that you can trust. And again, that just pours into you and helps guide you through some of, the tough parts of life.
And I almost view it, you mentioned mentor, sponsor, and advocate. I could be really wrong, but the way my brain processes that is those are levels of the same thing in a sense. Like I have a mentor now, but that relationship over time could grow where that person becomes like a sponsor to me, a little more involved, and I know we were kind of talking even before recording about, I thought of an AA sponsor, someone that's like really on your side and those type of things, and then could evolve into like an advocate. When you think of advocacy, you got someone that's in there that's really believes in something.
Yeah,
and I could be wrong, but to me it's levels of the same type of thing where someone speaks into your life on some level.
Definitely. And a friend shared with me that a sponsor is somebody who's going to sort of go to bat for you at the beginning and maybe be that bridge and connection to get you into something new. And an advocate is going to be there long term.
Yeah.
They're really going to, I hate to use the term go to bat for you again, but they're gonna always be there to spread the biggest cheer for you and everything that you have to offer.
Yeah, like they really believe in you
Yes,
and what you're doing.
absolutely.
And will go to bat, so to speak, even if to someone else, not just like, yeah, this is a good person, or yeah, they're under my wing a little bit, but it's a little more than that. So to me, it's levels of the same type of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think about the advocates that we have for our programming and people that I can rely on to share the message of what we do for Ready Kids and the students in our community. And those are advocates who have taken to heart truly and deeply the mission that we're providing. And they're just so great for spreading just positive feedback. And I just really love them.
That's awesome.
I love that. I think too, there's, in addition to those levels, there's also the different like styles. So, we are all part of a very formalized program, but, some of the people in our program also have mentors within their company. So like, like Navy Fed, they're a PYP sponsor. Thank you guys. But they have a mentor program within their company. And so you have like these workplace mentorship programs. And then I will say too, like we have at least one pair in our mentor program that had a very informal relationship and needed an opportunity to formalize it. So we said, well, come on.
Yeah.
They already had the relationship. We didn't have to pair them, but they're part of the curriculum, the very loose curriculum we've got, which is amazing. And so, I think you can have these mentor relationships with people that you may not even realize that that's already what's happening.
Yeah, that's good.
I was going to say the same thing about let's not talk about those mentorships that aren't quite called mentorships and you just take someone a coffee every single month and pick their brain, because that's a lot of times how a mentorship kind of forms is you see value in somebody and what they can bring into your life, and hopefully you're bringing just as much value to theirs. And it's really important to have a good relationship with your mentor and enjoy being with them, because this is supposed to be something that brings positive happiness. And I mean, I'm all about the joy. So
yeah,
I love it.
So why is this important? Why are we talking about this today? Couple reasons.
Yeah.
We're in, what is it? Mentor Month or something? What's it called?
National Mentor Month.
National Mentor Month. I know that was a thing.
It's a thing.
It is. I mean, in fact, the city of Pensacola used to do some fantastic celebrations on the mayor's lawn at the city of Pensacola to celebrate it.
No
really?
kidding.
Yep. I mean, pre-COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
There's that.
And then, what is it? January 17th is International Mentoring Day.
Yeah. So,
and then January 27th is Thank Your Mentor Day. So all of my fellow mentees out there,
you're on notice.
thank your mentor on January 27th.
I was like, man, I need to get the notice out to some of my mentees.
I did some research today. But I guess the importance of mentorship is that relationship building and the opportunity to build other people up. So we are all part of an adult program. You manage a kid-based program. There's also other programs, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we're excited. We're talking to you today about being a mentee and starting those relationships. And then next week, we're going to talk to Hong Patapsky about being a mentor yourself. So we're going to take this party a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I like it.
So it's kind of I think it's a fun topic.
It really is. And I love that there's really not a right or wrong answer. It's something that you can make your own and that you should, and that just continues to evolve.
Yes, that's true.
And I know, I just wanted to tell a quick little story. My first mentor, it was not formal. It was in a work setting. And the first job I ever had was at an RV dealership. And
You've told us this story.
I have not heard this story.
I probably told working there story. So I was a senior in high school, 17 years old, and I got a job. And then I started I became a salesman. I sold a unit when I wasn't supposed to, and I didn't know I really wasn't supposed to, but I sold a unit. Then my boss was like, maybe you ought to try doing this. Instead of getting mad at me, he was like, maybe I'll just let you sell stuff. And I was like, that's what I'm trying to say, So I started selling, but then there was one of the older sales guys was in his 50s at the time, like took me under his wing, and we have built a great relationship. I know him to this day, him and his wife. He always talked about, he wished he could adopt me and write me off, on his taxes as just as a joke. But we had in a company like that, there was only like 6 of us as sales guys. And so we spent a lot of time together anyways. But he took me under his wing, and, in sales, you already, especially that kind of sales, we already had to overcome that people thought we were like these trickster used car salesmen. But even as salesman, he used to teach me, he was in his 50s, and he said, look, we're in a smaller town. Pensacola's not that big. And like character matters, and we don't lie to customers to get a sale. And your reputation, if you want to have a success in this kind of business, then you gotta be truthful, and you gotta have character and integrity and all these things. And I worked with him for years. It was really great. I still know him. Then he became a pastor, and he's still like the pastor of this little church. And I talk to him. I don't say all the time, but I talk to him.
Yeah.
He's in his 70s now, but that was like my first mentor relationship was that, and it was like so informal, and we worked together. But looking back, he really took time. Like he had no obligation because he was not my boss. It was his responsibility to train me. He was just a coworker.
Well, and what I love about that story is that a mentor is probably not going to be a part of your life forever, not in every instance, but there's going to be a piece of them in your heart that just carries on. And even if you only talk to them very infrequently, there's going to be so much history there that you guys are going to continue to have, again, that lifelong bond, whether you have that in-person relationship long term.
Yeah.
And I think that a mentor and a mentee, there is a period of time when it's needed, and you're going to find the right people for the moments of your life that you're currently in.
Yeah. And they just leave an impact, right? I mean,
absolutely.
They leave an impact, and not just, and what's crazy is he taught me about my job, but really he was teaching me stuff far beyond that,
Oh my goodness. The things that I carry from my first job scooping ice cream.
Yeah.
Like the work ethic that was instilled in me,
that's right.
Taking care of other people, it has carried with me forever.
Where did you scoop ice cream?
I was a scooper hero at Baskin Robbins.
Okay.
For 3.5 years, and did I sample everything? Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Everyone, it's a perk of the job, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you have, what about you? Favorite mentor experience or your first mentor experience?
I would say that for me growing up, there were so many people that poured into my life. And while they were not in the official title of mentor, I would not be who I am or where I am. I reflect back on a teacher I had in high school in my math class, and I am horrible at math. There's a reason that I don't do anything with math. I lead a reading program, guys. And I just was horrible at it. And he would sit with me for 15 minutes after class every single day, just one-on-one, to kind of talk a little bit more about those concepts. And I look back and I'm like so thankful for him. And he was absolutely a mentor to me. Yeah. But professionally now, I have a mentor. She is with Navy Federal, and her name's Amy, and she is the reason I'm a part of PYP. She has inspired me to grow so much, to conquer some fears, and I just absolutely adore her, and I'm so, so grateful for that relationship.
That's great.
I love that.
What was yours first? mentor relationship?
I was really struggling. You guys were talking, and I was like, who is it? And it just occurred to me, like you mentioned your teacher and your math teacher, and I think I was like tag teamed, and I didn't realize it until I was an adult. But I went to school for music because of my high school band teacher and my flute teacher, my private flute teacher, and they happened to be like best friends from high school. Which now and then.
Did you know that back then?
I did know that back then. And so I knew that they were talking to each other about me. And like, I loved being the best flute player in the band. And I always
were you the best?
I was.
Okay.
I was. Yes. Of course I was.
Of course he was.
No, not of course, but it's the only thing that I know that I was always first flute. Like,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also, I also took like tons of flute lessons and was traveling to rehearsals and whatever. But now I look back and realize how much those two were, they were talking and they were guiding me. And it wasn't just about being a flute player, and it wasn't just getting me into music school. It was about those life lessons that I wouldn't have gotten any way else, and my parents, they were amazing parents, but when you're especially a teenager, like, you don't care what your parents are telling you. Like,
well, and I think sometimes, I'm not saying this happened in your situation, but I think sometimes with kids in those type of environments, it's like you go to tell your dad, I want to be a flautist. Dad's like, all right, look, not a big living you're going to make in this, like they get.
I really wish my parents were like that, because then I wouldn't have gotten a degree in it. I would have had like a worthy.
But I think it's cool that, they obviously you want to support your child's hobby, but I could see, like, if I was a parent, I'd be like, okay, look, that's cool and all, but like get a real degree so you can like pay your
do something
rent, get off my payroll,
Yeah, exactly.
But that's cool.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It's like I went to these two teachers, like my band teacher and my flute teacher, about everything. And I didn't start going to therapy until I was in my 30s, and I didn't realize I already had it when I was like 16. So I think we don't value those relationships as much when we're younger but I'm grateful
looking
that
back,
we know now, like, those relationships.
It's part of the beauty of getting older too, though, is looking back on those things and like, what's interesting. I did youth ministry for a long time, and what's interesting about working with young people is sometimes you never see the fruit of what you pour into, and that's so true. You just do it because out of the love, but you never, like the kids you work with, as they leave your program, you may never see those kids again.
Yep.
But you just you believe that what you do is powerful enough that it's going to impact them. No matter where they go, they'll remember some of those things.
Absolutely.
And then if you do run into them, that's when it's interesting. Like when it's like, I have people at my church now. It's a couple. They're married. They have 2 kids now. They were in my youth ministry a decade ago, and now they come here, and it's like they're thriving in life. And they're the ones with the chamber with that new the market. You've been seeing that on the chamber.
Yeah.
That's them.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so sweet.
So what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, never underestimate the power of a kind word. Kindness is gonna carry with you forever, and nothing can really hurt someone's chances of moving forward as someone telling them repeatedly that they can't do it. So I love that you guys didn't even know at the time that these were people who were pouring into you and impacting you for the rest of your life, but you do carry it with you, and it's such a testament to the importance of again, kindness, but the bond that you can give to someone else.
Well, and I like you mentioned how great your parents were. I too had really good parents. And my dad was always telling me how much he believed in me, but I do know that's rare. And a lot of kids, their parents aren't telling those things. And in fact, their parents may be telling them the opposite.
Yes.
So I know how much it meant to me, and I did get it at home too. Yeah. Imagine the kind word you say to the kid that hears that they're a nobody or an idiot or whatever, from their mom or dad. Like now you're getting into some talk that's powerful.
It's powerful.
It goes far beyond, especially in your world with the kids and stuff. It goes far beyond teaching them how to read or making their, increasing their literacy skills, which is important. But there's so much more to that.
There's so much more to it. Absolutely.
It's powerful.
Gosh. So we've all been mentored, thankfully.
Yes.
And we are all in very awesome mentoring relationships now too.
Yes.
Shout out to Jody, because I didn't get to say that. But our current mentor program is how we got here through this program, but a lot of people don't have access to programs like this. I would say Mentor Pensacola is something that you don't find very many places, and we are very fortunate to have started this program a number of years ago. But how do people find, like, how did you find Amy?
Well, I was very lucky because Amy is actually on our board of directors.
Okay.
So I had a direct connection, but you're right. Not everybody has that direct connection.
Yeah.
I think getting out in the community, networking, talking to the people that you do know who have connections that you don't know is a really great way when you don't have the opportunity to have a large connection or maybe don't know many people. Rely on those that you do and hear from them who has inspired them or who's doing certain works in the community that you aspire to. And I think it's really important when you go to approach someone for a mentorship role. I know we've been talking about how a lot of ours kind of happen naturally, but if it's not something that's just going to fall into place, I think it's important for you to go in with a plan. Like, let them know, hey, I have seen you doing X, Y, and Z in the community. Good. I really, am aspiring to kind of go in that same direction. I would love to get coffee or lunch with you and pick your brain. And I think sometimes it can be a little intimidating for mentees on the very first time to go in and like have an agenda or something they want to talk to. But I also want to say, don't be afraid of that.
Yeah, that's good. I was, you're talking about making connections too. I mean, our program is with the Pensacola Young Professionals in the chamber, and I would say if you're in a city that, like, maybe you work for a company, find out if your business that you work for is a member of the chamber, and then ask if you can get involved on behalf of the company you work for to go to the chamber stuff.
Yep.
Every chamber does the events and the breakfast and the whatevers, and like go, and that's a good place to start building some of those. Because the next question is surely, well, where do I go to do those things, to build those connections, right? It's like go on behalf of even your job.
Yeah.
At least if you need a reason to go, let it be your company as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and go to those functions and start meeting people.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think too, like, what you've done with Amy is like you work a nonprofit. Every nonprofit has a board of directors. That's a really great place to start because those people are on that board for a reason. They believe in the mission. So they're mission based. They're growth driven. Those are the type of people that you want as a mentor anyways. So especially for our nonprofit people who feel, I think too, like, it's really easy to get lonely and isolated in the nonprofit world, especially in our area, because many of our nonprofits are very small. And so you have your boss and maybe like one other person like you.
Yes, three-person
team. I've been like the director of marketing and been the marketing department for 2 organizations, like it's that sort of thing. So finding those, either your boards, if you're in the nonprofit world, or look at other nonprofit boards, because those people are very much growth driven and are looking to support, obviously, a cause. So they would obviously feel.
That is such a great idea. I love that. And you're right. Every single board that I've either been a part of or interacted with, it's made up of people from such vastly different fields. Yeah. And that's important to have those different perspectives and those different strengths. So I love the idea of just kind of exploring what's out there, and especially reach out to a nonprofit and talk to them about who you can connect with, because they are going to have connections.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people are very hesitant to do what I'm about to say, but my encouragement is just to do it. Is the amount of people I have I'm going to use the word cold called, but even emailed. So to me, if you're out there, especially if you're like under 30 and you like what we're talking about, like, I need a mentor in my life. So think about where you want to be. And I'm a reverse engineer guy, right? Figure out your end goal, and then let's work backwards. Figure out who's the big dog in your town even. Like, go do some research. Look, what's the name of the company? You can probably find an email address.
Yes.
And email them. You'd be shocked at the amount of people that would be interested and would respond to a cold email like that, because especially if they're any type of person that cares about who's come behind them and pouring into others, which a lot of those people are, they want to help you not have to go through every hard step they went through. Like, they want to take their knowledge where they went through all these hard steps and pass it on to someone else that, like, could get to where they're going in a shorter time.
I will say that cold calling is not as it actually works. It really does.
It really works.
Because I actually got my third job out of college by just typing in the field I was trying to work in and cold calling offices and saying, "Hi, are you guys hiring?" And I got a job from that.
Yeah.
That's
Now-
terrifying to me.
It was terrifying, but it works sometimes.
In emails, and depending on what you're doing to me, I like to send an email because I can like explain a little bit what I'm doing, or like why I'm contacting you, not just hey, is so and so available? You know, because sometimes people have assistants and they have like a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And I always want to try to provide some value too. Like I know you're busy. I always acknowledge. I just sent one today about some real estate stuff, but I sent one today. But I kind of I throw out there the things that like I know you're busy, and this is the reason for my email, and this is what I'm looking to do, and I would love to connect, and like those type of things. It works.
That's when I was a photographer, I used to get a lot of the cold emails, and I took a lot of people out to coffee. Well, I got coffee bought for me. It was kind of
yeah.
But and I will say like there's not. As like a very prideful photographer, there's nothing more frustrating than telling somebody how to do something and seeing them do it better than you. So it was at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I guess maybe I should do that too. But being like the cold, I half of those people I've never spoken to again, but I see what they do, and it's really exciting to see even that one off. You start.
I think the mentality, because you're right. I think the mentality that some people have. I think there's people who are aspiring photographers that see your Instagram and would love to go to coffee with you. But in their mind, they're going to say, why would she do that? I'm her competition.
Right.
What they don't know is some of these industries, yes, you're competitors in a sense, but you're also, it's more of a colleague or like a brotherhood sometimes. Like the real estate investors are like that.
Oh, yeah.
They're all in competition with each other, but it's weird. So it's like, it's counterintuitive sometimes that how willing someone that you think is a competitor would be willing to come and give you some pointers and help you along.
That's so true. Well, can I just say I love coffee, so if anybody wants to take me, I'm good.
Ditto.
Coffee.
You can send us some Starbucks gift cards to what's our address? Yeah,
happily accept your Starbucks gift cards. So we're all in favor of the cold call, the cold email.
Definitely.
Is there anything? I mean, the Instagram is probably not your best bet for a professional mentor relation, unless you're in the photography world. Apparently, that works.
I think it depends on
the
industry. I think it depends on maybe what the relationship could be. I mean, LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn is.
You got to go through I get a lot of like spam stuff on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn to me is so spammy. But
I mean, I think back to the fact that whenever you're searching for something on Amazon, you're going to go through those reviews, and just knowing someone, that honest voice is probably going to be your safest bet. Even if you don't have a connection in the community, if you're brand new to it, I mean, walk into a coffee shop, ask them who they know. And I just think that you're going to have a really good experience if you can have someone recommended to you. And once again, you don't have to have a big network for that, because everybody knows someone.
That's right.
So you are like the queen of tips on successful relationships, because like every 2 weeks I get an email or something from you and your coordinator about the next like homework assignment that you want to go out this program. So
that's funny.
Can you share some of your best tips for a successful mentor relationship, or getting building that relationship? Because I know you're full of them.
Oh, definitely. Well, I would start by saying, do your research and be prepared. You cannot just come into a meeting and wing it, because time is precious and there is something to be gained on both ends of the spectrum.
Right.
So one of the things that I love is at the beginning, thinking of some like almost icebreaker tips that you can share with each other about, like, this is who I am. This is what I want to achieve. These are my goals. This is maybe where I struggle. And do you know somebody who can help me with that? And letting that kind of lead how your sessions move forward. But also, as we shared earlier, using them as a connection to other people who can expand your view and your skill set. I really love the idea of homework from these mentoring sessions where it's not just a one and done. You meet once, you don't think about it, you come back and you see them again. No, you should be thinking about your time with them even when you're not with them.
That's good.
And whether that's listening to a podcast or reading an article and then coming back and discussing it with each other, or working on, like Justin does, the Enneagram, some kind of thing where you're really understanding each other's values and what's important to each other, or why you are the way that you are and how you can apply that to your work and to your personal life. Because when you're with a mentor, you guys are going to get deep.
Yeah. I would say too, like that consistency is really important. I'm grateful that there's like some kind of rule within our program that we have to meet at least an hour every month. And so, Jody and I meet more than an hour, usually like over a meal or something, but we also are texting. And I had COVID last week and I feel really bad because I dropped the ball, but we've been really good about just being consistent and communicating. And even when we can't see each other, we're in touch, because it's really easy to let like 6 weeks go by and then you spend the entire time catching up instead of getting into the deep
That's
stuff.
a good point.
So true.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I really love that. You're right. I know sometimes when Amy and I meet, she just took this epic trip to Africa. And I know that the next time we meet, it's going to be all about that.
Right.
But this is, again, a relationship. You don't have to talk to them just one time a month. Keeping in touch, checking in on each other, seeing how you're doing, seeing what's happening in their lives. And then when you do sit down for a genuine mentor-mentee discussion, you can dive into stuff that's really going to be impactful for both of you.
That's good.
You got any success tips?
Well, we stay in communication. We don't like text every day.
Yeah.
But I will concur to that it's nice to get in there. And you mentioned, like, you used the term icebreaker, but it is that, especially your first maybe time meeting or a couple of times. But like, I was trying to find common ground.
Yes.
Like, I had met mine before, but I didn't know him. So it's like, do we have common ground that makes them, I'm interested to be there, obviously, and obviously he agreed to be part of the program, but I was trying to find an angle, if for lack of a better word, this in his mind will go, okay, I have something in common with this guy, like I'm excited to, like, he's gonna come because he agreed to it, and all those things, but I was trying to like find some common ground that makes sense.
That is such a good point as well, though. I think finding that common ground with your mentor to see where you guys have like interests is really important to growing the relationship. And in that mindset, your meetings don't have to just be at a coffee shop or out over dinner. You guys can go out somewhere and get to know each other, and that way that your relationship is just such more stronger.
It's good. And then, another tip that we kind of just put in a note here was like showing gratitude all the time. And I think is important that, like thanking them for their time, and just like, you don't want to take for granted. Like, my mentor is a busy person who runs a business. That hour, imagine what's his time worth?
Right.
Probably a lot, and to take an hour out, theoretically, I'm taking that out of his pocket.
Yes.
So to show the appreciation that you are taking time. I mean, he brought me a book last time. We had talked about a book and he brought me a copy. Like, those little things, like those are things that I want to show appreciation for. So like, because he gave me a book, I don't need to go put the book on a shelf and not touch it.
Right.
I should read the book.
Read it.
Because one, not only did he take the time to go buy the book, but he's read it and he thinks, as the mentor, it's probably good that I read it. Right. It's not just like, here's a random gift. This has helped me, I'm sure it'll help you.
Yes.
Like, read this.
Gratitude goes so far, Meg. Your mentor, Jody, is absolutely phenomenal at it.
Gosh,
She
she's
is
so
good because she also is on the Ready Kids board. She had sent me just a little note and some M&Ms one time, just randomly thanking me for the work that I'm doing. And well, here I am talking about it because it made that much of an impact on me.
Absolutely.
No, she is one of the reasons where I was like, I should be a better gift giver. She's really good at it.
You talked about that this morning.
Yeah, we were talking about goals this morning, and I was like, I just need to be a better gift giver. And like, Jody's one of those people. Like, she's just really good about making sure that you feel thanked and
love that.
She's grateful for the people around her. And
I need to be better at that.
Yeah, we have an episode on gratitude. We'll link in the podcast notes.
You know what else I love about Jody is that she's also going to hold you accountable. So finding that balance of somebody who is, going to have a kind heart, who is going to show their appreciation for you, but isn't just fluff. They need to know what they're talking about and hold you accountable for what you guys are working towards.
Yeah, that tough love is
and it should be challenging. Like, your mentor should be challenging you.
Yes.
To get better. Because it's not a friendship. I mean, it may develop into a friendship, but the reason for the relationship is not a friend.
That's right.
It's to challenge you, to make you better, to get you to the next level. So like it should be challenging. So for when a mentor is holding you accountable, like, that shouldn't frustrate you. You should be thankful for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And from the mentee perspective, you need to be seeking opportunities for this to
No
happen.
doubt.
Ask for them.
Yeah.
And let it be known what you aspire to, and ask how they can use their connections or their experiences for you to share some of those same experiences.
No doubt. That's good. Got any takeaways?
I think one that's been kind of floating around is respecting our mentors' time. I think you talk about being prepared, and I think also knowing what your goals are going into that meeting and that relationship with your mentor is going to be really helpful in respecting their time, because their time is money. And then it's not wasting your time either. So
right.
I love to go into a meeting and tell someone if I have a hard stop. I mean, of course, we put the end time on our calendars, but every now and then you might go a little long.
Yep.
But if you go in and say, hey, what time do you need to be gone? Or, hey, I need to be gone by X, Y, or Z, it really sets the tone and lets you know that you have, kind of a timeline that you're on.
Yeah.
Really helpful.
Takeaway that you're looking at me for? I would say a takeaway that I would give to a listener is, like, if you're interested in having a mentor relationship with someone, one, if you're not interested in that, you should be. But two, don't get in your head and find a reason not to seek it out. Like, if there's opportunities, sometimes you may not have a formal program like ours in your city, but there are opportunities. There's some kind of organization you become a part of. There's a chamber, there's a whatever. Like, put yourself out there and let something happen.
And if you do those cold calls, like, the worst that could happen is they say no.
Yeah, the worst. That's all right.
Send the email and they'll never respond. The worst thing. It's
The
like,
worst
no
thing.
big deal. Like, it took you 2 minutes. Like,
Right.
Well, and linking it back to the pre-K mentoring program, our mentors always say they think they get more out of it than the children. So just know that when you reach out to somebody, they're probably going to be incredibly flattered, and it's probably going to be as much sought after of an experience for them as it is for you.
That's so true.
that's so good. Maybe we should just end it on that. Leave it on that a high note.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Kristy, if people want to find out more about you or have any questions when it comes to, are you on social, Instagram? Do you want to leave any of that stuff for our audience? Or
I am. They can absolutely follow me. I probably can't tell you. It's probably Kristy Craig 22.
We'll put it in the
We'll put it in the show notes.
Put it in the show notes because it changes.
That's cool. That's cool.
And we'll also share the Mentor Pensacola resources, all of your tips and tricks and your homework, and it's amazing. So we'll share those in our show notes.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, and for everybody else, you can find us online. Subscribe. What is our socials? More Than a YP.
More than a YP.
At More Than a YP on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then YouTube. We're on there now. So subscribe, like all those things. Share the video.
It's under Pensacola Young Professionals on YouTube.
Boom. Boom. You could find me. Please follow me and Meg.
Right.
I'm at Justin Oswald _ everywhere.
Everywhere. And I'm at Meg C. Burke on Instagram.
There you go.
Well, and Twitter, I guess. But.
Awesome. Thank you guys for being with us. For our new YouTube audience, thank you guys. Like, subscribe, all those things. And we'll catch you guys next time.